Zippered candy pouches made from candy pouches. Mmm, tasteful. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog for Monday, July the 9th, number 75. And, well, let's get right into it. What have I been up to? Have some coffee. Okay, I've been still working on my crumb quilt, and I'm getting there. I'm doing the quilting of it right now, and I decided to do something that's sort of a halfway between free motion quilting and walking foot quilting. And I am using my walking foot, but the quilt has 5 columns of 6 rows, and each row is made up of a square. So there are 6 squares in a column. Okay, follow me on the math on this. So I am doing a different quilting design in each one of the 6 squares, and then I'll repeat that in each column. So I've gotten 3 out of the 5 columns done, 2 more to go. I'm getting a little faster at it, and it's looking not too bad. I may do some additional quilting on it through the sashing and the borders as well once I get these squares done, and then all I have to do is bind it and it's done. So I'll show it to you when it is finished. But in the meantime, I've also started what will probably become another quilt. I'm doing some experimentation with my stash of fabrics and some foundation piecing. I think that's what they consider foundation piecing. I'm just doing simple half square triangles on paper. You lay the material down, it shows you where to put your stitch lines, shows you where to cut it, and then you have perfectly made half square triangles. And half square triangles seem to be one of the basic foundations for most quilts. So I thought I'd make some of these up. Right now I'm not sure what it's going to look like, what I'm going to do with it. I just got started. I think I'm procrastinating about getting started on the one for the bed, the big queen size quilt. I really don't want to blow that one. But I've got to get on with it, or it'll become one of those unfinished projects. Actually, it'll become one of those I've never started it projects, and I do want to do it. So anyways, I'll show you the crumb quilt when I get it finished. I've made in my serger class, which I haven't been disappointed in the serger class as much as I've been frustrated in the serger class, and that's basically because we've been doing a lot of garment making. I mean, I showed you what I called the clown pants. The pajama pants. Wasn't too impressed with those. I mean, they turned out okay, but it's just not a style or a thing that I would wear. We made a couple of lady scarves. Again, okay, I don't think I'm going to be making lady scarves, and I certainly won't be making lady scarves out of this light flowy material that was just a bitch to sew on the serger. And I think that's why she had us do it, so we could, you know, experience that and see, you know, what techniques you need to use on material like that. Last week we made a sweatshirt. Well, the ladies made dressy t-shirts. I made a sweatshirt, and actually it turned out not too bad. It's not finished yet. I did show it yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. That's why I'm not showing it right now. You can go to Stephen and Walter Live. It's in the very first part of the broadcast, and you'll see it there. It hasn't been hemmed yet, so my sleeves are really long and the waist of it is very long, but she wanted to show us a couple of techniques for hemming with this class coming up this week, so that's why it's not finished yet. So we'll finish it, I guess, in that class. And then we're going on to do what I really want to learn, is making placemats and napkins using the serger. Now, I have done both of those things on the serger before, but I don't know if I did them the correct way. So this is why I'm looking forward to that class, because then I'll learn the correct way to do it. So essentially, I know something. I will never be a seamstress. I'll never be a tailor. I do not enjoy making clothing from what I've experienced so far. no, I'm a quilter, not a garment maker. But having said that, the class has been very useful because I've learned a lot of things about my serger, which was my purpose for taking the class about the serger, and it has fulfilled that. I'm getting a little classed out though right now. I took a lot of classes in the last 2 months. This is my last one. I think after this week there's only one more week, and then we're done. And yeah, there's nothing being run really during the summer. So in the fall though, I might take a class, maybe 2 classes. I want to take one in bag making, and I mean, like, I want to make a satchel kind of bag, not just a tote bag. You know, a little bit finer sewing, I guess, and that kind of thing. And they do offer classes in this, so I'll probably take one of those. And I don't know, I might take another quilting class as well, depending on what the design is, because I always learn something from those classes as well. So that's what I've been up to in the last week or so. I did, I said one of the classes that we just finished up was what they called the BQ Boot Camp, Basic Quilters Boot Camp, where we learned some basic traditional blocks and tips and tricks for handling them. And one of the blocks we created is this star, and this used half square triangles, and I think it came out pretty nice. Now, originally this was going to become part of a bigger quilt. I was going to take all the different blocks that we learned how to use, I think it goes this way, and put them all together in a quilt. But I needed more blocks, so I started to try to duplicate this block, and I blew it. That's an idiot quilter segment right there. But then I thought, well, this might be a good size piece just to practice some free motion quilting. You know, get my hands dirty in that on an actual piece. So you can see in the center, I did these leaves. I call them sketchy leaves because they look like they've been sketched, in my mind anyways, and not anywhere near perfect, but a lot better than what I have done. And so that's what I did in the center. Now you see all the quilting, and see the ziggy, the squiggly line? That's actually my walking foot and a fancy stitch on my sewing machine that I did that with. So it's not really free motion, but what I did was I manipulated the material to get that scribbly look all over each one of these squares. And then you see the wavy lines, and I've done those before, and that's just using the walking foot. So it's kind of a combination of free motion and walking foot quilting. And I didn't bother to bind this. I just used my serger and went around the edges of it. And here's the back material. It's kind of nice back material. And that's the same as what was in these squares or triangles right here. So this is now a placemat of sorts. Actually, it's sitting under the picture of my kitty in the bedroom on the dresser. There's a picture of her there that I took before she expired. And on a sad note, today is July the 9th. So 3 years ago today, we had the passing of our little girl, Kitty, of Cleo. Hardest day of my life. That was the hardest day in my life when I had to take her to the vet. She had advanced stages of pancreatitis, and well, she was in a lot of pain and suffering, and there wasn't anything that the veterinarians could do for her, and so we had to make the ultimate decision and had her put to sleep. And I get a little teary-eyed right now thinking about it. She was everything to us, and I miss her a great deal. But anyways, let's not dwell on the past, okay? Let's not start off with a sad note. All right, so let's move on to, oh yeah, the other thing I was making are zippered pouches made from candy bags. This is what they look like. That's an actual candy bag. I did an Idiot Quilter episode about this, and I think I've got that down in my notes. I do, down resources, so you can check that out in more detail. Kind of fun to make. They're quilted. Here's another one. And they're covered in a clear heat and bond vinyl that keeps the bag waterproof and also protected. They are lined inside and quilted. Now Now, I was going to give these to some friends of mine. We're getting together for dinner very soon, and I don't know if I still will or not, because I had some problems with the zippers. That one's is zipping up pretty good. This one's not doing too bad a job. This one was the prototype, and I ripped it out and put it in and ripped it out 1,000 times, and you can see the zipper on that one is just a little bit too sticky. But I think I figured out what the problem was, and I discussed that in Idiot Quilter episode 16. Here's one, another one. That one works not too bad. So I might give the 3 of these to them and tell them, okay, there were problems. I don't know. They're good friends, they'll understand. This one, I ran out of candy bags. I mean, how much candy can one person eat? And I try not to eat a lot of candy. And so we have Tupperware containers full of Jubes and gummies and Werthers and that kind of thing. And I just didn't want to buy another candy bag. So I didn't. I went online, I found a picture of this Jolly Rancher candy bag, and I just used the same process. I printed this onto my material. I had some white cotton, and some stabilizing sheets that I put the cotton on, ran it through my inkjet printer, and treated it like a piece of, well, it is a piece of fabric, printed fabric, and did the same thing as I did with the other ones. Now, of course, I didn't have the back of the candy bag for this, so I just used a piece of scrap material. This one's probably my best one out of the bunch because the zipper looks nicer inside. I did some different things with the zipper, and it's got actually a batik sort of material inside of it. I quilted it, and it works pretty good. So yeah, they're a lot of fun to make. Kind of neat for gifts once you figure out how to get a zipper into them properly. And away you go. And just on a note, I think the reason I was having trouble with the zippers and they were catching is because I bought zippers at Michael's. That was a mistake. Their zippers are cheap, both in price and both in quality, and they're very, very narrow. Now, mind you, maybe they're a zipper meant to go into a garment. I don't know. But I did buy some decent zipper, actually zippers on a roller, zipper tape it's called, and you get like 3 yards and you get the little poles, and it's much wider as far as the material that runs along on either side of the zipper. And I did make, out of some old curtains that we took down from our bedroom when we redecorated the bedroom, they had decent fabric in them. So I washed the fabric all up and pressed it all out, and I can use it as quilting fabric. So I did make a tote bag, and maybe I'll show that on an Idiot Quilter episode, because I'd have to get off my stool right now and go into the sewing room, get it off the shelf, and bring it in here, and once I'm on this stool, I don't move. So maybe I'll do an Idiot Quilter one to show you that. And I put a zipper in it. Now, I've made tote bags before. They're pretty easy to make. But I did put in a zipper, and it's not quite perfect. Still having a little problem with that, but it was a much better than the zippers I used from Michael's in these candy pouches. So, and it's just a better quality zipper. So it's worth getting that material, that zipper on, what do they call it, zipper tape, or zipper on a roll or something like that. And yeah, it worked out much better. But that's, again, if I go back to what I was saying about sewing classes, that's why I want to take a bag making class, because I will learn the proper way to do this. I've watched YouTube videos, but I have yet to really find any that get right down in there with their camera and show you exactly up close what's happening with the ends of the zippers. I mean, maybe I'm just too stupid to catch on from those, but I need to see it. I need to be there when somebody's doing it to learn this. That's just the way I learn. So yeah, one of these classes might help out with that a lot. Okay, so YouTube channel of the week. All right, this one has nothing to do with crafting, nothing to do with quilting, has everything to do with cooking, but it's kind of entertaining as well. So here's my review. This week's YouTube channel is called Cooking with Shotgun Red. Now, this is not a craft video nor a quilting video site. This is a cooking show, but it's done by a guy that you've probably seen on info commercials back a few years ago, showing, all those different devices that cut, slice, and make julienne fries and all that kind of thing. Well, he's got his own cooking show, and he uses some pretty redneck ingredients for these creations. Actually, some of them don't sound too bad at all. But it's kind of an amusing show. He's kind of an amusing guy. And it's just kind of fun to watch somebody making what they might consider gourmet food from canned meats and other strange things like that. So if you want to laugh, or you want to look at a few recipes that actually might not be half bad, check out Cooking with Shotgun Red. So yeah, check it out for a laugh anyways. And like I said, many of the recipes are redneck, but some of them actually don't look too bad and look quite kind of tasty. So, search through them. You might find something interesting. Okay, other interesting things. My video resources are listed below. And so there's a new Stephen and Walter Live, and there's Cooking with Shotgun Red, which I just mentioned. And there's a link to The Idiot Quilter, episode 16, where I talk about the candy pouches in a little bit more detail. And then we have the link to the book that I'm going to be reviewing for this week. So we'll come to that in a minute. But let's go to what's pissing me off this week. Okay. The hydro company, or public utilities company, the people that supply your hydro. Okay. I got a notice in the mail that said they were reducing our monthly amount that we pay for our hydro bill from $254 a month to $125 a month. Wow. I mean, I was excited about that. However, we're on equal billing. That's why it's $254 every month. But we don't usually go over $254, even in the winter, on our hydro bill a month. It's more like around $175 on average. It's less in the summer, depending on how much we run the air conditioner, a little bit more in the winter. So, okay, fine and dandy. We had, for a while, we've had a credit amount in our account, meaning that we have overpaid. They owe us money. And they did. They sent us, in the last year and a half, 2 years, they have sent us a rebate check for about $1,200 each time. And we're massing it up again. That is not our fault. That is what they set our equal billing rate at. So fine. So I guess they finally figured out that they were owing us money all the time. So they dropped the equal billing amount down to $125, which is way below what our average monthly payment is. And that is a concern to me. Now, I know why they did it. They're doing it because they don't want to be issuing me a check every year or something for $1,200 or $1,400. I get it. They're trying to adjust the amount so that it is basically as close to zero as you can get. But I thought $125 was too little. So I thought, just to be on the safe side, I'll give them a call and ask them to up it to about $175 every month. And we're still, paying less than $254 a month. So what's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. I got this lady on the phone that I could barely understand. I'm not calling India. I am not calling the United States. I am not calling anywhere outside of Ontario. I'm calling the city where we live. There, okay? Oshawa. The woman on the phone, I could barely get through her accent to understand her. Okay, so here's a sub what I'm pissed off at this week. And I think I've mentioned this before. If you are hiring people for your business who are going to be talking to the general public, they're calling them, or or the general public are calling you, you need to have people who have a good command of our language. And our language is English. And I'm sorry if this sounds racist, but accents are accents. And why are these people on a phone? Give them a job where they don't have to deal with the public, because they have an accent that is heavy. I don't understand them. They're in an information area of your company, a communication area. You want clear communication. So anyways, that's just my pet peeve. I told her what the problem was, what I wanted to do. I thought it was simple enough. No. What I gathered out of what I finally translated was that, oh no, they couldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. And she just kept repeating the same thing. And she was talking over me. That was the other thing that really annoyed me. Okay? She wouldn't let me explain the situation. And she kept repeating the same thing over and over. And yes, it was a good thing she repeated some of it over, because at first I didn't understand what she was saying because of the accent. But as she repeated it 3 or 4 times over, I finally got the idea. I finally decided, I was getting a little hot under the collar, but I thought, okay, she's just doing her job. I said, could I speak to somebody who's a supervisor, someone above you? So she connected me with another lady. Now this lady, no problem understanding her. Very clear, very good communication skills, no problem. I explained to her what I wanted to do. She told me they couldn't do that. Computer says no. Okay, basically. Little Britain reference, if you know what I'm talking about. You may not. And I thought, so you're tied to your bloody computer, and because some stupid computer programmer put it in a certain way, or you were not trained how to override certain things in a computer program, you can't do anything for me. I said, you know, I get what you're telling me. She told me the same sort of thing as the other lady had told me, that they wanted it to come down as close to a zero balance. And I said, I get that. But then they were saying it was my responsibility to monitor the account, to give them a call when it got down to close to zero, to change if I want to change the amount. Why is that my responsibility? They're getting the money all the month. The reason that, oh, and she said, yeah, you've been running a credit balance since 2011. And then she told me, in the same breath, they review it once a year. Well, if you've been reviewing it once a year, and say I've had a credit balance since 2011, why did you only adjust my balance once? And they did that about 2 years ago, and it didn't go down, it went up. It went up by about $100 a month from what I was paying before. So the reason I have this huge credit balance that they owe me money for is because of what they did, not because of anything I did. So now they're telling me that I have to police it. Well, that annoyed me too. So I talked to her some more. I tried to keep my temper, and I did. And she knew I was getting frustrated, though. I'm sure she did. And so finally, she says, well, there is one thing we can do. And I said, what is that? And she said, if you want, we can issue you a check for the amount that we owe you right now. That will bring your balance down to zero. And then we can adjust your payment to what you want to have come out every month. Okay. So what's the difference? Yes, my first gut reaction was go for it. Get the check. Get the check and run. But then I thought, no, let's see. Let's see what happens here. Like, Walter did some math, and he figures at paying $125 a month, and next to our average balance in that and what we have already in the account that they owe us, it'll be a year before we get down to about zero in that account. So he said, let's just leave it. And that's what I thought too. So I told the woman, just leave it as it is. Fine. I give in. We'll monitor it. Whatever. But what I'm pissed off about is they set me up into this position. They make it sound like if you do equal billing, it's to your advantage, and this is a service that they're offering for my benefit, and yet they can't go in and make a simple adjustment. I mean, It's the bureaucracy, it's the I'm tied to a computer, don't know what to do to override certain things. If the computer says no, the computer means no, therefore it's no from us. We're controlled by the machine. Okay. Just annoying. Just annoying. So anyways, fine. We'll pay the $125 every week. I'll monitor it. And when we get close to the zero balance, if they haven't contacted us, I will contact them and I will change it to an amount that I think is, you know, more workable. Whatever. I guess the bottom line is the simplest of things that you ask to be done. This was not a hard thing. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a hard thing. There must be something on the computer where it says you can adjust it, go in, put in the new amount, bang, it's done. There must be. But why do you have to run into a brick wall all the time? And that's the way I've been feeling lately. Everything I turn to, it's a brick wall. You know, dealing with companies anymore on any level is just frustrating. Just bang, bang, bang my head. It doesn't get me anywhere except it gives me a headache. So that's what I'm pissed off about this week. Let's move on. So new products. Got some more Mike Deacon stencils. It's a 3 set. They're flowers. Haven't taken them out of the package yet. They're in there. And I don't know when they'll be out of the package. And that's why I said I got to slow down on it. But I love Mike Deacon's stuff. And I know this is also supporting him as a YouTuber. And I appreciate his videos. So it's my way of supporting him. And you know, I buy his digital downloads all the time as well because they're great. Actually, I'm trying to think of a way to organize them. I have master copies of each thing I download from his site. I got the hiccups again, I'm sorry. And I put them in a big binder. Actually, I have 2 binders. He has a lot of digital downloads, and I think I have pretty much almost every one of them that he's ever put out. I got to do more things with them. Like, I got to do more things with his stencils, too. That's the other thing. So, that takes me to inspiration for this week. I'm kind of not in the order I usually do things, but I'm going to skip over it because I'm talking about Mike Deacon's stencils. So I got thinking, I have a whole pile of stencils I've never used. Let's get them dirty. Let's make some collage papers. And you know what collage papers are. It's basically layering, rubber stamps, paint, stenciling, all that kind of stuff on sheets of paper. And you get these beautiful collage-like papers that you can cut up, use as backgrounds in art journals, use them as backgrounds for cards, whatever. Haven't made any of them for a while. I need a day to do that, if I can pull myself away from my sewing machine. And what I might do is limit myself and say, okay, I'm going to take all the new stencils that I've got that I've never used before, and I'm going to use them on these papers. And that's all I'm going to use is stenciling and ink pads and maybe some paint. And just go and play, have a little fun with that, and at the end of it, my theory is I'll have a lot of these papers all made up that I can use in future projects. And then I won't feel so guilty about having all these stencils still in their original packaging and I've never opened with that. So that might be an idea to try with some of your stash at home. Why not make some collage papers with, it doesn't have to be stencils, it can be whatever, rubber stamps. Go look for some of the stuff you haven't used in a long time and try that out. Maybe that's a way to, you know, at least you can justify in your mind that, yeah, I bought these, I should use them, and use them to create something beautiful. Maybe, just an idea. Haven't tried it yet. I will, eventually. Probably make a video about it. Okay, so talking about inspiration, I came across this very beautiful book called Crafting Beautiful Journals and Albums by Anna Morgan. Anna Morgan? Yeah, Anna Morgan. Right here. I have a link for this in the resource section, in the notes. And this is really a great book if you're into journal making. And I've noticed lately there's been quite an influx of people making journals. In fact, I'm looking right now at doing quilted journals. Some of my viewers think it was Elaine, one one of my regular viewers of Stephen and Walter Live, sent me some links to some YouTube videos about people making their journals using quilted covers or that kind of thing. And I've been watching them, and I'm really kind of interested, and I want to do something like that. But a book like this will show you different techniques for making really nice handmade journals and albums. And the pictures are beautiful in it. The instructions are fairly clear. Tells you everything that you need to create a journal. So if you haven't tried making a journal yet, I would highly recommend getting your hands on something like this. There are many books about journal making. This is just one in particular that I really like. Again, not a cheap book. $35.99 Canadian, it says, $22.99 American. Wow, there's a big difference. I bought this several years ago, but I have a link to Amazon.ca, and you can probably get it on Amazon.com as well for this book. I've actually given you two links. One is Amazon, and the other one is a direct publishing company, Abe Books, I think it's called. And I think the prices were a little cheaper than what I actually paid for this that I just quoted you now. But it is an investment. But if you want to really get into all aspects of journal making, I think you'll find this book really helpful. Okay, so what's that take us to now? Oh, yes. What's in my drawers this week? Punches. So what's in my drawers this week? Punches. I'm feeling kind of punchy about these. Ha ha ha. Okay. When I first got into scrapbooking back in about 2002, I was absolutely mesmerized by the variety of punches that were available then. So I bought a lot of them, and I probably have close to 200 punches, which are sitting in about 4 different drawers doing nothing, because I replaced the punches years later with die cutting machines, and dies did a lot more than punches. However, I do have some very interesting punches in my collection, so I'm sort of grouping these and telling you what each one is. This group that I have right here now are corner punches. We have the simple corner rounder, where you put the corner of your paper, your cardstock in here, punch it, you've got a round edge. Same with this one, although this one was designed by Becky Higgins for her Project Life cards. So it gives a little bit of a different rounded corner, but not that much that justifies going out and buying this if you already have one of these. But then you can have ones that do specialty corners. For example, this little device, and it has a little plate that slides out of it. See if I can slide it out. I think it slides out. Okay, maybe it doesn't slide out. Yeah, I'm sure it does slide out, but I haven't used it in so long. But what it does is it'll give you a very interesting type of corner like that. A little scallop with holes in it. And there are other ones like that too. Now these are by Fiskars. I don't even know if they're still available. I've had them for so many years. But if you look on the top, this one says flower. There are 3 different designs in the corners that it will give you depending on what side of the punch you place your cardstock in. The same with this one. And it's kind of more bang for your buck kind of a thing. So you see, cute little tulip thing. And this one's going to give me a little flower. And this one's going to give me this little thing. So these are kind of fun. Again, I don't know if these are available anymore. They may be, they may not be. And at the time that I purchased them, I think they were kind of on the pricey side, but most Fiskars punches are, they were probably in the $20 range, maybe a little less than that. But the one thing about Fiskars punches are, they're very well constructed. They'll last you for years if you look after them. Punches that come from the dollar store are usually much smaller. They're cheaper, of course, because they're from the dollar store, and really don't cut that well. So if you're going to be using punches a lot, you might want to invest in good quality ones. Of course, these ones now, I definitely don't think you can get these anymore. They were all the rage. They were expensive at the time, but they're a type of corner punch too. And I think I have 4 different ones. And you can see here the intricacy of the design. Some of them actually came with just a little slot so that you could cut out your frame, and there'd be a little slot in each corner, and you just slide your picture into it. Also, the bases of these particular corner punches come off, so you're no longer having to use it as a corner punch. You can just use it as an ordinary punch in there as well. So these are very nice, and as I said, I used to use these quite a bit. They were my go-to punches for corners when I was doing a lot of scrapbooking, but they've been sitting in my drawer for quite some time. So those are corner punches. Let me just move them out of the way and grab another set. So let's talk about more specialty punches. These are tab punches, and they are what they say they are. And they look on the end of it, it shows you the shape they cut out. And these are really meant for creating tabs for, you know, file folders or indexes, index sheets, things like that. And I think there were 3 or 4 different designs in these. And we'll just try this one. I'll show you what happens. That's another thing. Some of these punches have these little plastic covers on them which catch whatever you've punched out. So here you go. Here's a little tab. And you can get plastic covers that are cut the same shape and are double-sided, and they're sticky. And you write whatever you want to write onto this tab, fold it over, and then you can actually stick it to the side of your page. So I kind of stockpiled the little plastic things because who knows how long those would be out for. And I did use these quite a bit at first when I got them. And I still use them every now and then, depending on, you know, whether I'm in a lazy mood or not to actually make my own tabs. So that's one type that's good too. What else? Well, let's talk about your definite shape types of punches. You know, the ones that are dedicated, like this one to a maple leaf, this one to a Christmas tree, this one to a little teeny pussycat, and this one to a little splash. I have a lot of these. They've come from different sources. Again, quality is important. These little ones here are not bad quality because they're made by EK Success, but you can find ones similar to this in the dollar stores. But trust me, they will break without a problem. Now, the one thing that's nice about these is if you're making cards or something, you can get a tiny little punch that would fit on your card. Of course, I find this kind of annoying for picking up and gluing because they're so small. But you can make confetti out of them. You can even make them into a stencil, which might be kind of cool as well. But of course, there's hundreds of these on the market, and they vary in price from $1 up to sky's the limit, really. Now, what else do we have? Some more specialty punches. These I used to use quite a bit because I was on a kick of making things look like postage stamps, and I have these in 2 different sizes, 1 1/4 inch, 1 9/16 inches, and I think there's another one that's either a little smaller or a little bigger than this. So if you want to create a postage stamp effect, now this is something that sometimes happens with your punches. They will stick. Now you can lubricate them. There's a special spray punch lubricant that you can get and that will spray them. Also, if you find that your blades are going dull in them, punch through several layers of tin foil several times, and that will sharpen them up as well. But you see, that gave me a little postage stamp. So, what else do we have? Let's talk about basic shapes. If you're going to invest in punches, and if you don't have a die cutting machine, or even if you do have a die cutting machine, it's not bad to have some of your basic shapes, like your circles, your squares, and triangles. Although triangles I found were more rare to find. But I have a variety of sizes in circles, and I have a few more. I think I have something a little smaller down here, and I think I have something up to about 3 inches up here. These are kind of nice when you need to punch out something, say, in printed scrapbook paper, you know, isolate an area, and all you have to do is turn it upside down, slide it in, and you can see where it's going to cut and punch it from there. You don't have to use your punch like this on top. You can put it wherever you want by looking underneath. These particular types of punches are by EK Success, and they have a little clip here, and that opens them up. that's for storage purposes. But what's nice about having several different punches in sort of graduated sizes is that you can basically, you'll have a round punch that'll fit almost any needs. Why do I have so many round punches? It's because every time I needed a round punch for a particular size, I had to buy it because I didn't have it. So now I think I've got one, like I said, from about 1/2 inch all the way up to 3 inches. And these are ones that I will go to a lot. They're easier to use when you just need a few little circles rather than getting out your dies and using your die cutting machine. This is a quick method to, create this kind of thing. What else do we have? Of course, we have the oversized punches. These tend to be very expensive. This one does a tag, and I'll just show you here. So I'm going to turn this one upside down so I can see where I'm lining it up. So you see, you just put it wherever. Let's say there was a picture or something on here that I wanted specifically in that form. And then sometimes you need to put it down and push it down because they're harder. And so there you go. It creates a nice little tag. Again, you can do this with your die cutting machine if you have the dies, but if you don't, and this is the size you like, you might want to invest in something like this. But the bigger the punches, I have found, the more expensive they are. Another specialty type that I bought, and I use this when I make pockets, because what it does, it's by We Are Memory Keepers, it allows you to put that little thumb hole in your pocket. And I have used this quite a bit. I get on a pocket making mood sort of a thing, and so this is what I use. Now if that's too deep for you, no problem, just go partial way in and punch so you can adjust. And if you turn it upside down, and this is one of those ones with the plastic cover that captures everything, but it comes right off. So if you turn it upside down, you can line it up and get exactly what you're looking for. So that's probably a use for a punch that you would use over and over again, so it's worth the investment. And again, this is by We Are Memory Keepers, and they call it thumb notch punch. What else do we have? Of course, Tim Holtz came out with his own punches at one time, and I have more than just these. Of course, I have more than these because they're by Tim Holtz, but they have sort of the distress element, and they're like those other ones I showed you. They have a little clip on the bottom that opens them up, and they're good quality. They're made by Sizzix with Tim Holtz's name on them. So there's my butterfly, and let's just stick another one in here, and let's get out one of his distressed flowers. And these come in various sizes as well. So really, they're kind of neat to have. Expense-wise, I think they ranged about $14.99 Canadian a piece. So again, it's an investment. Another one that I found was a good investment was this particular punch by, I think it's EK Success. It is. And it makes these little banner flags. I use banner flags a lot when I'm doing a background layout on a scrapbook page. I like to tuck them into things, or you can write on them. So this was a good investment as far as I was concerned. Another type, and I used to have quite a few of these by Fiskars, but most of them broke. Although I said that Fiskars is good quality, these particular types of punches they had that created borders tended to have a very weak handle, and that's what broke on them. This is a Martha Stewart one, and it's meant for ribbon. So it'll punch holes. Let's just get it started here. And what you do is you line it up with the markings to get a row. Let's just see if I'm marking, it'll get it in the right markings. So you can create a whole row of these. Now what we do with this particular punch? Well, this is for feeding ribbon through, weaving ribbon through these holes as a decorative border. But there's lots of other ones on the market as well that allow you to make a continuous border just by lining them up with the marks on that, on the little plate at the bottom. Another kind of punch, which these were expensive, and I bought several of them in different sizes. These are an anywhere punch. Basically, it's a magnetic system. You have the base, and then you can buy these different sizes of tops that fit on it. This one happens to be a round one, but it came in squares as well, and it may have come in a few other basic shape type things. So what you do is you place it anywhere under your paper, so you're not limited to the hinge, that you can go anywhere on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper or whatever size. And then there's this little rack, and it's magnetic. You see that? It clicked onto that. And then you just put on the punch. There's some little grooves on the side so you know where to line it up. So you know where to line it up. All right, what am I doing wrong? Oh, there we go. And punch. And that one didn't punch all the way through very well. Let's try another one. This could be dull. This might be one of the ones I need to sharpen. Do I have another piece of paper I can do this on? Well, I wonder if this is big enough. Nope, probably not. Well, for the sake of our demo here, I'm just going to use that little bit. Just line it up. I'm going to cut off a little bit of the edges, but you get the point. Sometimes they do this. They stick. Okay. This is maybe why I don't use the punches. Oh, there we go. Popped away. And yeah, I didn't cut it all the way through. So a little bit of a problem with that, and this may be why I'm not using these so much anymore. But at the time, they sounded like a really great idea. And I think they are. If I was to sharpen this and everything, it would allow me to punch circles or squares wherever I want to on my paper. Last that I want to mention is this. Now, this is a very specific punch, puzzle pieces, but what I like about these kind of punches, and I believe they're made by Fiskars. I'm trying to read the letters on that. Yeah, we'll read it on the end. Fiskars, yeah. These are really nice if you have a hard time with pushing down on a punch. These ones, you just slip your card in and squeeze the handles, and they do a really nice job of punching out pieces. But these come at a premium price. These are probably anywhere between $21 and up, depending on what you get for size. But they do work very, very well. So, all my punches, that's what's in my drawers this week. And I hope that I took away the mystery, if there was a mystery, about using punches. Okay, so you can see that I go through stages of being a hoarder. I hoard fabric, I hoard paper, and I hoard punches at one time. It's a sickness. What can I say? All right. So, events in the past week. Well, update on my mother. She's still in the hospital. We are now starting into week 4 of this. They have done numerous tests on her. The neurologist has checked out her MRI, and thankfully, the neurologist does not believe there's anything wrong with her mentally that's causing her not to be able to walk. She does not have Parkinson's. She does not have hydrocephalus. Syphilis, sorry, that's not what I meant. Water on the brain, fluid on the brain that can affect, your mobility as well. None of that. He wants to see her in another 6 months for another MRI. Okay, fine. So here's where we stand. My mother's still in hospital. She's not eating what she should be eating. Everything she touches, she says she doesn't like. Last week, they gave her a soup at lunch. It had red kidney beans in it. She didn't eat it. Doesn't like red kidney beans. That was news to me because my mother used to make chili with red kidney beans in it. She used to order chili at Tim Hortons with red kidney beans in it. Suddenly, she doesn't like red kidney beans. She won't eat the sandwiches. The sandwiches look decent. Bread's too thick, she says. It's ordinary, everyday, white processed bread. Standard thickness. She doesn't like the tea. It's red rose. She wants green tea. They have it on their menu. She picks out from the menu what she wants, but she always ends up with red tea. So she claims she's picking out green tea. I don't know. It's just one thing after another. She hasn't said she wants to go home. I think she likes being waited on there. But now here's where we are. I guess now they've pretty much exhausted all the physiological reasons for why she's not walking. They've taken out the mental problems. What they haven't looked at is the psychological. But I think they want to set up a meeting with the team and us, my sister and myself and Walter, and I guess probably my mother, to talk about next steps. So we'll see from there. You already know what's in my mind as to what's going to happen. She's not going back to the apartment. They might put her in a rehabilitation area of one of the hospitals nearby to try and give her physio to help her walk. Problem is, she doesn't want to walk. If my mother doesn't want to do something, she won't do it. It's the same with eating. I think she has a bit of an anorexic problem, if you can have a bit of an anorexic problem. I don't know. My father used to say he thought she did have that problem. He said that years ago. I didn't really pay any attention to it. I think my father might have been right. So that's where we stand now. But a new twist. So my mother had said she had been talking to my brother. My brother lives out west in Vancouver area, Abbotsford. And my brother and I, not to get into it, don't communicate. I'm not going to get into the whole history of why that is, but we don't. So I have not seen my brother in 4 years. Actually, 5 years. I hadn't seen my brother in 5 years. He has been out here. I didn't see him. My mother saw him. So I guess they came out last week. I didn't know they were out here at that point. And to go to something to do with his wife's family. I think it was a family reunion or something like that. Anyways, they knew that my mother was in the hospital and they came to visit her. Well, I didn't know that they were going to do that. I didn't even know they were out here. So we were in the hospital at the same time that my brother showed up. Could have been awkward, but I am an adult and he's an adult. So we talked a little bit about my mother's condition, and I basically said to my brother, okay, well, I'll leave you to visit with Mom. If you want to know more about what's been going on, give me a call or come over before you go back, and I'll discuss it with you. Now, I didn't know if he was going to call me or not. I wouldn't have been surprised if he hadn't, but I was surprised because he did. And we had a really good conversation for about an hour on the phone about lots of things. And the bottom line of it is, he knows the reality of my mother's situation, and the animosity between the two of us, I think we have, I don't think we got rid of it completely, but I think we've opened up the channels of communication again, which I think is a good thing. And basically, I know my brother's feeling a little bit guilty and a little bit bad about the fact that he's not been here to go through what my sister and I have been going through for quite a long time, not just with my mother in the hospital, but things that happened before we even sold the house, before my father passed away, and everything like that. And like he said, he's 4,500 kilometers away. You know, what can he do? And I said to him, you know, Craig, it wouldn't matter if you were here. Now, there isn't much you would be able to do here. There isn't much any of us can do. I mean, I've done everything that I think you can possibly do. It is what it is, and we're taking it day by day. So, you know, you have your life out west. This is our life here. I'll keep you informed as to any major developments with it. So anyways, that was a good thing because, you know, I don't like not having communication with my brother. My brother and I are 4 years difference in age. He's younger than me. We're not close. We never have been. My brother and I are like night and day, personality-wise, everything. So, I mean, it's not like we were best of friends growing up and all that kind of stuff. We weren't. But we were also not at each other's throats. And I don't want that to happen. I mean, he's my brother, after all. You know, blood's thicker than water. So anyways, a good thing that has come out of this is reconnection with my brother. Okay, so that's all that's been going on in the past week, plus going back and forth to the hospital. It's gotten too much to go every day, so I don't. I'm going every other day right now, and I call her on the days I'm not going. Because basically, we get over there, we don't spend a lot of time there because there isn't a lot to talk about, and she's okay, like, given what I've already said earlier about her condition, and she's being looked after, and that's one thing that is a positive. I'm trying to look for the positive things in all of this situation, the best I can. And one of the positive things is I know that there are people there looking after her. You know, so she's not going to fall, she's not going to get hurt. She's getting some food into her system. It is not ideal, but it's better than what she was doing when she was not on her own in the apartment. So, you know, that's what's up. But driving back and forth to this hospital, and I told you this is about a 25-minute drive from my house, given traffic or whatever. It's in another town, and you know, it's taking a good hour and a half or more out of your day. So, you know, maybe that makes me sound like a cruel person. Maybe people think I should be sitting at her bedside 24/7. She's not dying, okay? So, yeah, it is what it is. I've got to start looking after myself because this has been taking a great toll on me emotionally, mentally, and there has been some physical things happening to me as well. I know what it is. It's stress. And so I've got to do something to look after myself, because if I'm not in good health, what good am I going to be to her? Simple as that. We don't need two of us down. So, anyways, what's coming up? My birthday. Yay. And hopefully the plans that I've made for it are going to work out all right. And what I mean by that is pending how things are going with my mother. But here's what the plans are. It's my 61st birthday this Saturday. On Friday, we are going to a place about an hour and a half, 2 hours west of us. It's called Cambridge. Cambridge is a town. It's actually made up of several little towns, and it's near where I went to university. I went to the University of Guelph for my first degree, and it's near there. And it's also in Mennonite country. So there's the Twin Cities of Waterloo, Kitchener are there. And there's little satellite towns that are really quaint and have a lot of neat little stores. And like St. Jacobs, which has a quilt store in it. And I hope it's still there. I'll have to look it up on the internet to make sure. Because when we drive up there on Friday, and we'll probably go, you know, sometime in the morning, and we've got a place to stay. We're staying at the college, Conestoga College it's called. In the summertime, they open up their residences, their student residences, hotel rooms. And it's kind of no frills, no thrills, but it's actually pretty good. You have a large room. It's got full bathroom facilities in the room. It even has like a sink and a kitchen counter and things like that in there. No TVs, but that's okay. We'll have our iPads with us anyways, but we won't be in the room that much while we're there. It's clean and it's cheap. It's about $90 a night, and we're going to stay 2 nights. We've done this before, and it's worked out fine. So we'll go around on the Friday to these little places and check out, you know, quilting shops, crafting shops, whatever, that kind of stuff. Do lunch and all that kind of stuff. And on the Saturday, we have tickets to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the stage play version of it. And this is one of our all-time favorite movies. No, we are not dressing up as Frankenfurter or any of the others characters in it. I do hear, though, that some people go to this and do dress up. So it should be a hoot. We're going to a matinee. Now, this is in a town called Stratford. And Stratford is about 30, 40 minutes away from where we're staying. So you might say, well, why aren't you staying in Stratford overnight if you're going there? Well, here's the problem. Stratford doesn't have a lot of hotels, and the ones that they do have are usually booked months and months and months ahead, because Stratford is known for its Shakespearean festival every year. That's its claim to fame. And I have been to Stratford many times over the years, and mostly to see a Shakespearean play, because ex-English teacher, why? We love Shakespeare. Yeah. But in the last few years, they've been diversifying their plays, and they've been going into musicals or into, you know, other modern playwrights and things like that. So this is one of those diversified productions. And so we could stay in a bed and breakfast. They have a lot of them, really nice ones, but they're also a really nice price, $400 a night for a room in someone's home. I have a little problem with that. I don't care how nice it is. I also have a problem staying in people's houses that I don't know. Okay. I have done it. I've done bed and breakfast before. Usually they were an okay experience, but I just feel uncomfortable that I'm in somebody else's house. I don't even like staying overnight at friends' places when we have to. Kind of a thing. It's just the privacy thing. It's the, you got to be really careful because, you know, it's somebody's furniture, stuff like that. So anyways, we're going to stay at the college in the student residence instead. So we'll come back after the matinee, and I said, Walter says, well, where do you want to go for your birthday, for your dinner? Because we always take each other out for dinner for our birthdays, right? And I wasn't really sure what's up in that area. But I remember from my university days, now we're talking 40 years ago, God, that's a long time, there was a really good restaurant in the area called the Aberfoyle Mill. It was an old mill, is basically what it is. It used to be very expensive, but it was very good. And I think while I was in university, I think there may have been a couple of times that we went as a family there. And I remember it was very, very pricey those days. So I looked it up on the internet, and yes, it still exists. And it's still just as pricey. Like a steak is $38. Okay. But we made a reservation for 8 o'clock. I mean, Walter's paying for it, so what the hell. But I hope it is as good as I remember it. I mean, it's been 40 years. So we'll see. So we've got reservation for dinner for the Saturday night. And then we'll come back on Sunday, probably, you know, early Sunday morning. Once we're up and about, we'll be back home by noon, probably. And that's fine. So yes, there will be a Stephen and Walter live. And next week's vlog, I hope I will have some video of this little birthday excursion, so you can see some of the places that I just mentioned, whatnot. At least that's what I'm going to try and do. So yes, there will be a Stephen and Walter live, usual time, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, this coming Sunday. Okay, so that's what's coming up, and I'm looking forward to that. And final note for the day. Lately, I feel like all I do is argue with people. This takes me back to what I said about what's pissing me off, and I mentioned I feel lately like everything I do, I hit a brick wall. And this is making me a little bitter and a little angry all the time, and I need to get a grip. You can't go through life being angry all the time. I know some people do, but they're not happy people. I'd rather be happy. But I just hate this feeling that I'm constantly having to argue with people, and I hate this feeling that the reason I'm arguing with them is because I feel like I have to justify everything I say and do for these people. Like, I'm always the one that's wrong. They're always the ones that right, and how dare that I should challenge them. But challenge them I will. And I'm thinking now about this meeting that will be eventually coming up with the hospital team. And I know that I'm going to run into some brick walls there, and there is going to be some argumentative things in that. And I just have to learn, or just have to try very hard to keep my cool, to keep my logic, to approach it from a very logical, not emotional point of view. But I'm a very emotional person, and I know that's easier said than done for me. So I'm really going to have to try. But But anyways, that's just the way I've been feeling lately, and I hate that feeling. But I suppose as time goes on, things will rectify themselves, and, you know, in a year's time, totally different situation, hopefully a better situation. So anyways, don't give up hope in your lives either, and I hope you have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll see you on Stephen and Walter Live next Sunday, and for sure the following Monday with another vlog. And there might be some videos sometime this week go up as well about other things. I don't know, depends on what I'm doing. Okay, have a good one. Bye for now.